Good to have you here. Welcome. Hello, Marlena, Ilse, Taina, Mervi, Ashley, and Lalu. Welcome back. Good. And everyone at home who watches and practices here as a recorded class. I have some props, a bolster, and maybe some blocks for today's practice. And we start in a seated position, cross-legged position. You can be sitting on a flat block if that gives you more comfort. And then close your eyes, create some stillness here, physical stillness, but also mental stillness, which doesn't mean that there are no thoughts, but withdrawing your mind from going wild, thinking about everything and anything. So to withdraw all that distraction and bring yourself to this present moment. And if your mind is very busy, if you can't switch off, you can also use the tool of the breath. So you can use your breath, you can observe your breath, you can silently count your breath, you can count your inhalation up to 4 and the exhalation up to 4. And then you can create a rhythm with your breath. And by counting your breath silently, you bring yourself into this moment. Right? And sometimes we can still manage, even if we count, to have other thoughts in the background. Well, I can. Right? Yes, Lily loves, right? Sometimes it still happens. But then just bringing in more awareness to the counting, more awareness to the breath. Feel the breath flowing. And then also acknowledging if the mind is very busy, and that's just where we are. And acknowledging that instead of making it wrong or being impatient or mad at ourselves that we can't just sit still. Good. From here, slowly come into a forward fold. Just let your torso sink forward. Walk the hands forward. Wherever you are in this forward fold, no pushing. Let the breath flow. Breathing in and out through the nose. Good, and then bring your upper body slightly over to your right side, leaning over your right thigh. Notice the stretch, notice the breath, any sensations in the body. Come here. Bring yourself back to center. Come to center. And then move over to the left side. Just a few gentle stretches, not too long. Just to reach into those areas. And slowly bring the torso back to center. Take a moment here. And slowly roll back up. And in your seated position, relax the shoulders and just check in how you feel. Maybe you feel a little more relaxed, a little more present even. Just a few soothing forward folds. Not too much, not too long. Good, we're going to move into some side bends. So if you have blocks, you could bring the blocks over to your right side. And then you can bring the right forearm. Some of you like to have the elbow on the blocks, and of course you can have the blocks different positions. Just careful if you have the blocks standing that they don't flip over. And then you can lift the left arm up and find any comfortable position. It doesn't have to look good with the elbow reaching up. Your arm can be sideways on the head, or your arm can reach at the back. Just see what works for you. And Marlena, you can also relax the arm down. So you don't have to keep it up. Unless you have somewhere you can hold your arm there. Yes. And breathe. I'm not staying too long. Just into a side bend. And yes, I like the variation Lalu has. So maybe you find the stretch by having your elbow down already intense, and you don't really need to do much with your left arm. You can also have your arm behind your back. Always good to remind ourselves that going deeper physically doesn't necessarily mean you're having a better experience in this pose. Keep breathing through the nose. This is rather an intense pose, a little more challenging as we keep the right arm engaged, resting the head maybe on the hands. So be aware that this might be a bit more distracting for the mind. Good, and then we release here. Slowly release your left arm first, and then slowly lift the torso up. In a seated position, observe the sensations, the release on your left side. Good, and then bring the blocks over to the other side, or your props, anything you use. Take a deep breath, and then start by bringing the left forearm onto the blocks, just slowly shifting in, and then maybe bring the hand up, rest the head on your hand, and then see if you want to bring the right arm up into any position. Observe how this side feels. Keep breathing comfortably through the nose. A few more breaths here. And then very slowly stop by releasing your right arm, and then slowly bring the torso up and relax your shoulders. Feel the release. Good. And we come into a caterpillar pose. Bring the legs out in front of you, maybe with a bolster or any other support under your knees. Have the legs about hip width apart, and exhale, fold forward over your legs. Instead of using the bolster under the knees, you can also always have the bolster for your forehead. Maybe you want to sit onto a block or a cushion. Let the breath flow comfortably. And remember that if your mind is very busy, you can silently count the breath, equal in and equal exhalation. Now, if you want to find even more relaxation, dropping deeper into that state of rest and digest, that's when you want to keep your exhalation a little longer. So feel free to do that. You can count your inhalation up to 3, and then maybe the exhalation 4 or 5. So don't force the exhalation to be very much longer. Remember, you still want to keep the breath comfortable. If your breath doesn't flow comfortable, you most likely also don't shift into that deep, relaxing state. Feel the lengthening in the body. And the lengthening happens in the back layer of the body, back of your legs, along the spine. Maybe notice how at the beginning it felt stiff and tight. And now as we're a few minutes in, there might be some more softness, maybe even more space so that your body physically shifts even deeper. As you inhale, slowly roll up vertebrae by vertebrae. Roll down into a rebound pose onto your back. As you exhale, completely relax here. As you soften the face and the breath and your whole body. From here, we shift into a spinal twist. We stay as we are on the back. If you want to use the bolster or blocks, bring it over to the right side. Both feet on the mat, bring the left leg, cross it over your right leg. And twisted roots, bring both knees to the right side. The arms are shoulder height out. You can turn your head to the left. Instead of having the legs crossed, you can also stretch the right leg out, bring the left leg over to the right side. Deep breaths here. See if you can have the upper back fully on the mat, both shoulder blades on the mat. Gently release, roll onto your back, stretch the legs out, feel the release. Let's change side. Now bring both feet back onto the mat. Cross the right leg over your left side. And bring the knees to the left side with the arms stretched out. Second variation, you can stretch the left leg out and cross the right leg over. Feel the comfort of this pose as we're here lying on the mat. And supine twists are more soothing because of that support. You're lying on the mat. We can be very passive in those twists, different to standing or especially seated twists, but are more energizing, more active. So allow the shoulders to relax. Allow the arms to be soft. Face is soft. Breath flows comfortably. And you're relaxing all the way down your torso, into your legs and feet. And slowly release here. Roll onto the back, both legs out, arms by the sides, palms up. Gently draw the knees into the chest and roll to your left side. Push yourself up into a seated position. And I give you two poses to choose from for your final pose. One is lying butterfly, so as if the feet together, support for under your spine. Or the other, if you want to work more into the upper chest, you have your bolster sideways and you have it under your shoulder blades. It's almost like a supported fish pose. Your legs are stretched out. You could also bring the feet actually in butterfly if you like. And then you have your arms over your head. Now, if you have a strong bolster, and maybe your chest is higher up, so you might need support for under your head if you come into the supported fish pose. So just see what you need here, what support you would need here. And relax into the pose. And if you're in a lying butterfly, you can anytime stretch the legs out if you feel like it. Wherever you are, you're releasing now into final pose Shavasana. So slowly come out of your pose and then release into final pose. Use any props, any support, maybe cover yourself, stay warm and comfy. Gently start moving your fingers and your toes. Deepen your breath. Bring the movement now into your wrists and ankles, circling them into one direction. Change direction. Good. Draw the knees into the chest. Squeeze the knees down and then roll over onto your left side. Take a moment here on your side. And when you're ready, push yourself up into a seated position. Keep your eyes closed, lengthen through the spine. Shoulders relaxed, and the breath flows now in its natural flow. Observe how you feel. Gently open your eyes. Thank you for joining this practice. Good. I hope you feel well.